Hi, everybody. It's Leslie with the New Mexico Small Business Development Center. And today we have one I've been waiting for. This is called Spying on the Competition, Sneaky Yet Legal. And we all want to know about this. I know I do. Eric Spellman is a great public speaker, and we've really enjoyed his webinars. He's been doing a great job. So Eric, you've got to tell us all about it. Remember, type your questions immediately into the Q&A because he likes to pick them up as soon as they pop up. So Eric.
Thank you, Leslie. Now, as always, in case this is the first time you are watching me, understand how I work. I want questions at any time. I know you have questions, please ask them. Also, don't feel like you have to write down every single thing you see on your screen. My wonderful hosts have a copy of this entire presentation, and I've given them permission to send it to you or to post it so that you can see it. What I want you to really focus on, what I want you to really write down is not any web addresses or anything like that I give, but more applicability, how you're going to apply what I'm saying, what you do. So having said that, let's move on. And let's talk about spying. Okay, thank you, Brian, for those nice words. Okay, here we go. Well, first, let's talk a little bit about, this is not a new thing. I mean, people, listen up. This is not a new thing. You've been doing this for a long time. You just haven't been using any of your high-tech methods to do it. I'm going to be giving you some ways that technology can help you be a better spy. But these same concepts you've already been doing. And if you're saying, no, I would never spy on my company, hush, of course you do. And if you're not, you should be. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. You're making anonymous calls already. Trust me. Don't lie to me. Don't act like you haven't. You're getting someone in your family, or you are making anonymous calls to your competition and just kind of seeing what you can get out of them. What information can you get? And this is totally legal, and you've been doing it for a very long time. I mean, heck, a customer can ask anything. So I know I've been called many, many, many times. In fact, I recognized it quite a few and played with them a little bit. But I guarantee there's many that I did not catch. And so you always got to make sure and understand that whatever you're giving out over the phone, well, that is something that your competition might get a hold of, and that's okay. I still have people today tell me, Eric, I don't want a website. Believe it or not, I get that. I don't want a website. And I say, why? And they say, well, because I don't want my competition looking at what I'm doing. What? People, listen, we no longer live in a place where commercially you put up walls and fences around your business so that no one can get in. And you no longer have the kind of control that you used to have as to what kind of information got out. So you're going to have to adapt. And as part of that adaptation, you need to start taking on the role of spy, not just someone nervous that you're getting spied on. So we've always been making anonymous calls. We've even been doing secret shopper on our clients. You know, either we or someone else, in case they might recognize us, goes into the store or the offices of one of our competitor, just to kind of, you know, get some recon, figure out what's going on, who's all there, what are their names, you know, totally legit. And so we'll go in there, and a lot of times secret shoppers also check to see how much prices are, to see what kind of discounts are going on. And of course, we are all really good at customer poaching. If we know that a potential customer is a customer of one of our competition, many times we will go after them. We call it spear phishing, where we specifically pick a target and go after them, not just kind of shotgun shooting everybody. So when we do that, and I remember this happened to me with my company. Usually it happens, however, I'll just be honest with you. Usually, customer poaching happens right after you lose someone powerful in your company. I remember I lost the head of my sales department once. He just decided to wanted to go somewhere else, and he went to one of my competitors, and he actively went after those customers that he had a relationship with. Do I fault him? No. I mean, if they were more of a customer to him than to me, that's my fault. But uh, do I want it to happen? No, of course not. And so just understand customer poaching is something that we've always run into. Also, rumor campaigns. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in starting rumors about my competition. Well, to be honest, I don't have to because most of them are true anyway. But I don't believe in talking bad about your competition. I truly, truly don't. And you'll understand why a little later in the presentation. So just realize you've always done it. You've always had this kind of spying, whether you admit it or not, that was going on with your customers. Step one, if you want to spy on your customers, it starts with their website. Remember, I told you that the website is the center of the universe for your company. It is the center of the universe, the center of your digital universe. Think of it like a wagon wheel, the hub of that wagon wheel. You have all the other things going around it, like, social media and billboards and TV and radio and all these other things. Well, guess what? Through the spokes, they all connect back to the website. Everything points to the website. Your goal is to get everyone to the website because, as you either have heard from me teaching or will hear from me in the future, the website is going to be one of the primary places where you convert a prospect to a customer. And so your goal is to get people to your website. It's the one place on the planet digitally where you control 100% of what's going on. See, social media, other people get to comment on you. All the other things going on, other people have a say, but not on your website. So always start with their website. And what I say is always go find their contact us or their contact form. You know what I mean? That place on their website where you can fill in a little bit of information and contact them. Hit submit and it goes to them. One of the things I would recommend is that you see how fast it takes them to get back with you. How fast does it take for them to get back with you? So putting in a little information with a personal email address not connected to your company will let you know if they call you back or email you back or try in some way. Typically, what happens with those contact us forms is that when someone hits submit on a website, it turns into an email that then goes to someone at the company. That person's job is then to either get the email to the right part of their company for a response or to respond directly. My point in having you do this little test with your competition is find out how long it takes for them to get back to people. I tell people all the time, if it takes longer than 24 hours, you should not have a contact us form on your website. And I'm including weekends on that too. Is the website updated? In other words, are they updating it or has it been the same website for over a year? So many people build a website and they think of it like they're building a business. You only build it once and then you don't touch it unless it breaks. That's not true. That's not how a website is supposed to work. A website is a constantly changing, growing, and I mean growing thing. And you ought to be adding content to it on a regular basis if you ever want to be found in Google. Because Google's looking at how often you update your website. They really are. It is one of the factors. So find out if your customer is updating their website. If they're talking about deals and products that are no longer around, well, you could pretty much assume that they don't take care of their website or even care. You need to understand how much of your client's business is coming from that website. If they're not updating it, I can almost guarantee they're depending on other channels instead. Here's a fun little spy tool I like to use. It's called BuiltWith.com. Now, what BuiltWith does is you put in a website and it goes through and kind of dissects it and tells you all the different things they use to create it, all the tools, kind of where it's hosted, what kind of software was used, what kind of modules they have in there. I know some of you are going to say, well, Eric, that's technical. Well, some of it is, but I will tell you this, it will give you a big idea on how much money they spend on their website. Okay, now while it won't tell you that, it'll show you how complex their website is, kind of where they're choosing to host it, which you can then look up their hosting rates, and kind of how many pages. I mean, there's so many different pieces to this. Let me show you real quick. If we go to, here we go. If we go to builtwith.com, and you can click here and type in any kind of website. So for instance, if I type in, I don't know, Nike.com, there we go. It starts telling you everything about it. It starts with some of the basics on kind of what's used in there, what they're using. So if you ever wanted to find out what someone is doing, you can simply go through this and do it for any website. You're not breaking into anything. You're just basically finding out what they're using. It's kind of like looking behind the curtain, if you will. And you can click on a detailed technology profile. It'll tell you where they're hosted, how long they've been there. It's some really useful data. Now, like I said, some of this is very technical. So you may be reading that going, I don't get it. But scan through it on your competitors and it will give you an idea on, are they choosing a cheap, little web build my own website thing, or did they have someone do it? There's a lot of really good information you can get from that. Okay. Let us present. Compare it to yours. Always compare it to yours. Compare their website to yours and see what they're doing. You want to make sure that when it's all said and done, if you were to put your website and their website side by side, which one looks better? Now, that's going to be hard to say because I know most of you are immediately going to, the second you see your competitor's website, you're going to go, oh, that's ugly. Oh, they're terrible. Try to be a little more balanced than that. Try to be a little more objective, and just put them side by side. If you really want a crude test, you pick someone who doesn't have any favorites. And you say, look at these two websites. Just by looking at them, which one would you rather buy from? Run that little test. And I think it'll be an eye opener for you. Also, there's another thing you can do is checking their meta tags. Now, what are meta tags? Meta tags they're kind of like hidden codes in a website, if you will. And back in the old days, they were used to describe a website to Google so that Google could rank it appropriately. The problem is so many people misused meta tags, those secret codes in websites. They misused them so badly that Google kind of backed away. But a lot of these websites still have these meta tags in them. And I highly recommend that you, oh, hush, Google. That so many of these companies have not gone back and cleaned up their meta tags. And so what you're going to see when you look at them, and I'm going to show you how in 2 seconds, is kind of what they think their business is about. Let me give you an example. Let's and we'll just go incognito for a second. That way we don't have to keep doing that. And let's put up any website. How about Nike.com? So here is the Nike website. And when you go to the Nike website, if you right click anywhere on it, you're going to see an option called View Page Source right here. So right click anywhere on it, choose View Page Source. And you're going to look at that and say, oh my gosh, that's a bunch of gobbledygook. That's a bunch of code. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I know some of you are saying that. So what I'm going to say is hit Control F for find. And remember, y'all can come back and watch this video 1,000 times. Don't feel like you have to write down all these steps. Hit Control F for find, which means I'm going to search this web page for something. And I'm going to type in meta. Okay. Now, when you type in meta, over here, it's going to say it found it about 30 times. And so I am going to kind of go down until I find them and see what they have. Here's here's meta keywords, and all they have is one keyword. That's good. They don't use that anymore. But you can keep going through it is my point. And you're going to see, just keep searching even through the entire page, and you're going to see descriptions, what they consider might be. Some of the stuff is just like hidden behind it, if you will.
Eric,
Yes.
Brian is asking, just the plain Google site is showing.
Oh, hold on. Am I not sharing? Hold on. I told it to share the wrong screen. Thank you for letting me know that.
And
Hold on.
Catherine has raised her hand, but let's get this up
Yeah.
first.
Okay. Let me get that. Whenever I let me get it to share there. There we go. Sorry. There. Now, hopefully, you're seeing it. Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? Just this line of text here. Okay. So whenever you look at the source on a website, it looks like just a bunch of code. Okay. And so your goal is to switch that in a way that you can read it. And that's why I use the Control F for find, and I type in the word meta and then go all through the different pieces to find those codes. I know that sounds a little technical. Don't worry. It's just one way to kind of go in and spy on them and see the parts of this that a lot of people don't see, kind of the behind the scenes. Here, I'll just stay back on the website. Okay, let me go share this one again. Share, and there we go. Okay. Okay. So checking their website and their meta tags. Now, there's other things you can do. There are two other services. One is called SimilarWeb and one is called Alexa. These are not as technical as what I just showed you. This is a little easier because what they're going to do is kind of show you how they rank amidst all the other websites out there. These two websites just kind of show popularity, if you will. And okay, good. Y'all are seeing that, I hope, right? Okay. Go. I'll make sure. So that is one of the things. If you go to alexa.com, whoops. If you go to say alexa.com, I'll just give you one example here. I swear switching back and forth, it's not as easy as it appears. Here we go. If we go to Alexa, good. Just want to make sure it's showing the right screen for y'all, so I'm not just talking in the air. If you go to Alexa, you can go and pretty much do any kind of search you want. Okay. And oops. It's let's see. It's alexa.org. Just a second. I knew today was going to be a fun one, jumping back and forth like that. And here it is. I want to. Okay. And you can type something in and it will find it for you. Alexa is one of the rankers of the internet, if you will. It's been around forever. And so when I say use a site like that or SimilarWeb will actually show you websites that are similar to yours as well. Okay. So I highly recommend that as well. Let's keep going. Switching around is hard. Another one, which I really want to use, is this one. This one doesn't even use another website. It uses Google, and it's using the site. Google has a number of search secrets. And in fact, I did a whole video on these, where you can use certain, now I don't want to use the word keywords, but certain code words within Google that will help you discover things about Google. So for instance, if I go out here and let's go here and I just type Google, and if you go to Google and you type your site and ericspellman.com, what you're going to discover is you're going to see every single website, every single page on here is from my site. So do this with your competitor and you can see every single page that Google knows about from their website. Every single page, even the pages you may not have been to. When you put site colon, as I did up here, when you put site colon, you're basically limiting the search to that one website. It's kind of one of the little search secrets I use a lot. Like for instance, if I'm looking up a software bug and I know it's on the Microsoft website, what I'll do is I'll type in my keywords, but then I'll put site colon Microsoft.com, and it basically guarantees that the only results I'm going to get are from Microsoft.com about the search I did. I also like to use this as a way to spy. So I might put site colon and mycompetitors.com. Remember, there's no spaces in that. So when you type it, you're basically just going to see every single page that Google knows about. Okay. There we go. The next thing you can do is link. That is also another secret Google code word, if you will. Link is actually more interesting, and you're going to want to use this with your website and a competitor's website. So basically, once again, we're going to go to Google, and instead of link and then a website or a site and a website, I'm going to put link colon and then a website. What this is going to do is show you every website that links to you. So in this case, my website, I have, what does it say? It's going to show everything here is from other websites. It's not me, but it's other places linking to me. So if you've ever wondered, are people linking to your website? This is how you find out. But it's also how you find out if people are linking to your competitor. And that's actually very important. You need to know that. So once again, site colon limits the list to just pages on that website. Link colon shows you a list of every website that links to that website. It's one of the easiest ways to find what we call backlinks. And by investigating the backlinks of your competitors, you're doing a really good job on spying. Image search. I like this a lot. Whenever you go to Google, you're going to, you're going to do a search. And when you do a search on anything, so for instance, let's say you put in a company name. How about Nike? So I put in Nike, and when I do a search, it's going to give me the results. But up here at the top, you have other options you can search, and one of them is an image search. Clicking on images will show you every single picture on the internet that is somehow tied to Nike, that is somehow indexed as Nike. Okay, so pictures are a great way to find out what your competitor, what pictures they're tying to, pictures you may not have seen, products you may not have seen. It's another way to search, not just for text on the internet, but also for pictures. Okay, so once again, the way we got up there was we did our search, and then we clicked on images, and it limited the Google results to just pictures. Okay, let's move on. Check their searchability. So we've talked about checking their website. We're now going to talk about their searchability. How easy are they to find on the internet? Now, one of the hard parts here is choosing what to search on. I mean, I have a whole talk just on that because most of what y'all think you're being searched on is not true. People are searching on you for other things. You just don't realize it. So the key is to keep in mind how the public is searching for what you and your competitor do. And one of the questions I like to ask people and business owners, and if you were sitting right here, I would ask you, is if I didn't know the name of your company, what would you want to come up on if I searched? In other words, what should I search that you would want to come up on? And it can't be one word. Like if you're a car dealer, you can't go cars. No, no one does that anymore. Okay. And everyone knows that if you just type in cars, you're going to get too much. Over time, because Google and the internet have grown, people have discovered that the more words they type into or questions or statements they type into Google, the more accurate it gets. So, what question do you want to make sure you're the answer to when Google serves it up? Question is, who ranks higher for the answer? You or your competitor? And that's what you need to look at, because if your competitor is beating you on Google in almost everything, you've got some work to do. It means you don't have enough content. It basically means that your client has more text and more good content than you do. Believe it or not, it's kind of a quantity game here. Quality does play a big piece, but quantity is even a tiny bit bigger. You know, where do they rank? I tell people all the time, if you're not on the first page of Google, you don't exist. There is no such thing as the second page of Google. I mean, you know that you get 10 organic results when you do a search on Google. And down at the bottom, if they don't see what they want, some of y'all are assuming that they're going to go to page 2. No, they're not. They've done studies, and most people, if they don't find what they're looking for or a site they're looking for on that first page of Google results, in other words, the top 10, they're going to change their search. So once again, if you're not on the first page, whether you're first or not in the list, if you're not on the first page of Google, in other words, in the top 10, no one can find you, okay, at least for that. So find out where they rank. And if they turn up to be number 11, which means the top of page 2, don't worry about it too much, unless they get better and it pushes it and replaces number 10. Also, when you do a search for a company, many times you'll get a local info box. So let's try that and I'll show you what I mean. If I go here and I type in, say, Albuquerque plumbers. Okay, so here's Albuquerque plumbers. Okay, and I have these that just came up. Take a look at how did these people get to be first? Well, first realize that up here is some of the local results. Okay, and these are the local results based on Albuquerque. If I was in Albuquerque, I'm not, I'm in Amarillo. But if I was in Albuquerque and it knew where I was, like if I was using my phone to do this, it would actually rank them a little more by location. Like it would try to find the closest plumber to me. But it doesn't know where I am. Or if it does know that I'm in Amarillo and I typed in Albuquerque plumbers, what it does is basically start at the center of the city and work out. Okay. And also based on some other factors, some of them being reviews that will have them show up. Okay. And so you probably notice these little local info boxes. And then when you highlight over them, you'll get a phone number, you'll get all that. If you don't know how to get that information in there, like, you know, what hours you're open or how to get that little local business, you need to well, not immediately, after my talk, of course, you need to contact Leslie or one of the other amazing counselors at the NMSPDC, because they have a special tool on their phones where they can update that information for you to where you start showing at the top of that list. No one else can do it. Technically, you can if you have the prowess, but the counselors can do it within minutes. And so I highly recommend a meeting just for them. Now, notice the next two things are ads. These people paid to be there, okay? If you keep going, then you're going to start to see the number one, right here, the number one organic result, plus some other local results, okay? The info boxes are basically these and these. That's what I mean by the local info box. Make sure you understand how that works. Keywordtool.io. I like keywordtool.io because it is a way of finding out what keywords people are searching on. So for instance, if you go to this site, it'll kind of help you give you suggestions, but you can also go in there and find it. So for instance, let's say that you're trying to compete against your competitor and you're a plumber. So you think, oh, I'll put in broken drain. Okay. Well, you can, but if you put in just plumbing, I'll just show you what it does in the United States. What it's going to do is it's going to show you all the words that it found. And of course, it offers to set you up a free account. But just to show you, so I don't have to do that, it's going to list a lot of keywords over here that you can then, you maybe hadn't even considered. But if you haven't, maybe your competition has, and you can see that. So let's get back. Okay. And you can kind of go through and look at the rest. I'll be honest, I don't use any of the rest of these. I primarily just use Google. And it's basically going to be showing you what keywords in your industry are the most searched on, which once again helps you understand where your competition is coming from. Oops, paid ads. You also need to realize that there are customers not just going after SEO and organic rankings, they're going after paid advertising. And that's where that keywordtool.io also helps you, is because it's going to show you what are the most popular searches in that field, so that if you did want to go after something for pay, you could. Now, remember how Google AdWords is kind of what I'm talking about here, you know, where you're paying to show up. You know, where those ads were showing up in that list we just saw? That's Google AdWords. And they are paying to show up, regardless of whether Google thinks they're relevant or not. They just, and the only time they pay is if someone clicks on them. Okay. If 1,000 people see it and never click on it, it doesn't cost them a penny. But if I clicked on it, I would have cost them a nickel, 50 cents, $1, could have been a little more. It's called pay per click. Okay. And if you're not buying advertising for your company at this point in the game, and you're relying solely on social media or organic ranking, or thinking you can run your whole business on the internet for free and get all the free stuff, okay. If you're going to be serious about this, people, you're going to need to buy advertising on the internet, and AdWords is a great way to start. I'll be having a talk on how to do that coming up. You know, when you look up paid advertising, when you find out that your client is doing paid advertising, you want to know where they're ranked, because basically if they're ranking above you, then there's about a 90% chance they're willing to pay more for a click than you, which means they're scooping all the leads from you. Whenever you find one of your clients in an ad on Google, or not one of your clients, one of your competitors in an ad on Google, first of all, don't get all evil and just start clicking on them to cost them money. Google's onto that, and they will only charge them once, okay, from the same person. So don't do that. Like I said, what I would do is look at their ad, look at how they wrote it, and then realize if you're not showing up ahead of them in that ad, they're putting more money in it than you are. Okay. And using both of those together, the keyword tool and that, you can kind of see where they are. On the paid advertising, the local info box will also still show, but the ads are kind of where it's going. My favorite site on this is espionage.com. I love this site. Let me show it to you real quick. A lot of these have kind of things you have to, they're free accounts that don't give you everything because they want you to pay them eventually. But this one is kind of nice. So if I go in here and put Nike.com, put your competitors' traffic and uncover their conversion, click Start Spying. Now notice it's going to come in here and it's going to ask you for all this. And I already filled that out once. I was hoping it wouldn't make me do it again. But it's going to give you information about their site. Okay. It's going to give you information about exactly what they're going after and probably how much they're paying for it. Okay, so I'm sorry it's asking me to log this in again, but it's espionage.com. Check it out. Sign up for a free account. It's one of the free ones that I really like because they cover kind of everything they show you. Okay, what they have. But once again, they want you to pay a little if you really like it, but you can do so much free with this one. I like it a lot. Okay. And like I said, it shows you what keywords they're doing well on too, believe it or not. Okay. Okay. Next. Google Alerts. This is an easy one, totally free one. They're not trying to sell you anything. They make it very easy to use. And all you have to do is go to google.com/alerts, totally free. And basically what you're going to do is put in search phrases. And those search phrases, what Google does is if you have a Google account and you kind of need one to log in with, then Google will email you when it discovers anything new that comes up on that search. So it's kind of like when your competitor or you does something new and creates a new web page, eventually the Google will find it and it will show up. Well, let me give you a good example. I highly recommend that on Google Alerts, you put your own company name and your own personal name into a Google Alert. Meaning if anyone is talking about you, if anyone is talking about your company online, Google will send you an email saying where it is and you can go click and go see it. This is how I find out if any of my competitors are trash talking me. This is how I find out if anyone's talking about me. I use that quite a bit. I also tell people to add the word sucks to it. Now, y'all are going to laugh and think this is a joke. It is not. I am dead serious. You're going to add a Google alert for your company name, but I also want you to add a Google alert for your company name, and you're going to put space, and then you're going to write the word sucks, because the word sucks is found in about 90% of the complaints a company will probably receive. And so if you want to get all the bad stuff to the top, many times simply adding sucks, believe it or not, will pull the bad stuff to the top for you so you can see it easier. And yes, I highly recommend you do that with your own name as well. Your own, like Eric Spellman sucks. I would do this. You see what I'm saying? Because it lets you know if someone's talking garbage on you. And of course, I would do the exact same thing with my competitor's company name. And boys is having fun today. My competitor's name, and also maybe the name of the owner, because it'll give you a heads up on if something comes down the pike. I can't tell you how many. I found out many times using Google Alerts that one of my competitors was going out of business, and I would not have known it without Google Alerts. Okay, check their social media. People, you need to start checking social media. This is one of the best ways to do recon on your competitors. One of the first things I'll say is how many followers do they have? How many people are actually following them? Believe it or not, that is actually a good question to ask, because you're basically seeing how many eyeballs might be seeing what they're doing. If your number of followers is lower than theirs, you have something to do. Now, some of y'all might be saying, well, Eric, I'm on Facebook, and on our company, it doesn't say followers, it's calling them friends. Please don't tell me that. If it's friends, that means you don't have a page for your company. It means you're using a personal account that should be for a human being for your company. Human beings have friends. Companies have followers. So if it says add friend on your company site, your company set their Facebook up wrong. Okay. And when they hit 5,000 friends, because that is the maximum number of friends you can have on Facebook, when they hit 5,000 friends or friends/customers, guess what? They can't add any more, and they will have to start kicking people off the boat to make room for more. So followers, pages have followers. If you don't have a page for your business, you must build one, and your counselors, your NMS BDC counselors can help you with that. They really can. How many posts are they doing? How frequent are they posting? You know, is it every week? Is it once a month? Have they never posted? Is it every day? You need to understand how much investment they're putting into this from a time standpoint. So count the number of posts in a given period. But also go back and look at when they started. You know, how long have they been doing this? Because those who post the most have the highest top of mind awareness that there is. You got to keep reminding people who you are. Never let them forget who you are. And one of the beautiful things about social media is that people don't forget who you are if you're consistent. Okay. And a lot of times, I mean, top of mind awareness is key. We've talked about that concept before. It's kind of like if I were to ask you, let's go eat pizza, you thought of a pizza place. You did, because that pizza place occupies the top of mind awareness for the word pizza. My question to you is your product, is your service top of mind for anybody? In other words, when they think of what you do, when they think of the product or service you offer, is it your company's name that comes up first in their mind, or is it your competitor? But I'll be honest, if you really want to know if they're doing social media right, I tell people all the time, this is how I measure whether someone's doing social media right. I count the number of comments on their post. I'm serious. The comments on their post. Because a comment is the best kind of interaction you can get on social media. I mean, basically, people stopped, focused on what you said, and are now interacting with you and thinking about you and building that top of mind awareness while they talk to you. So if you really want to know if your competitors are doing well, count the number of comments under each of their posts. Heck, probably ought to check your own as well. Socialsearcher.com. I won't go to it right this second because I'm starting to run out of time, but social-searcher.com. Basically what it does is it's kind of like a Google, but for social media. I use it every once in a while. I'll put in a company name because it'll search across Facebook, YouTube, Flickr, and there's some others, I think even Instagram. And it searches across those and tells you if there's any links into there. Now, keep in mind, Social Searcher will only find public posts. So if people are, you know, behind a paywall or have it limited, Social Searcher can't show you that. But it is, think of it as a search engine for social media. Check their history. I remember when the internet first came out. In fact, I was there. I worked at our local community college here. And this is even before the public even had access to the internet. I mean, the public was starting to dally a little with AOL, but our local community college was about to get a connection to the quote internet from our local university, West Texas A&M University. Our university was getting its internet connection from the University of Texas in Austin. So we were about to, as at Amarillo College, where I worked, we were about to get a connection to quote the internet. My job was actually to help hook them up to that. And so I've been in the internet world a long time. And I remember back in the days of the early internet, there was no World Wide Web. There were no web pages. There was just email and a little thing called Gopher and some other garbage stuff that compared to today was nothing. Well, believe it or not, you can actually go back and see what older websites used to look like. And that's because of archive.org. Archive.org is a large nonprofit. And basically what they do is they're documenting the internet. Believe it or not, they're trying to make copies of the internet over time. Easiest way to think of it is every once in a while, archive.org will visit your website and it will take a snapshot, a picture of your web page, your web pages, and it will store them like pictures. And someday you may change your website and have a newer one, but I can always go back and see your old stuff. Let me show you what I mean. They have a little thing called the Wayback Machine, and that's why I have this graphic on here. Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Peabody is the dog, and he had a time machine, believe it or not. This is back in the Rocky Bullwinkle cartoon days. And there was a subset of Rocky and Bullwinkle called Peabody's Improbable History. And basically, it was kind of educational, where him and Sherman, the little kid, would get in the Wayback Machine and we would learn something about history. Well, archive.org took that and they still use it today. And so if you go to, let me show you, archive.org. Here we are, and here's the Wayback Machine. You can basically put any website in there, and I'll say put Microsoft. And what it'll do is it will show you all the times it went out over the years and collected shots of their website. So the first time they ever got Microsoft's website was in 1996. Okay. And the cool thing is, if you click on any of these, like I'll go all the way up to 1999. If you click on that, then you get a calendar. In this calendar, everything you see the dots on, those are times when the archive.org or the Wayback Machine took pictures of the website. And if you click on one, like I'll click here, and it says multiple web shots that were taken. I'll click on that one taken at that time. Give it a second. And what it's going to do is it's going to go out there and show you what Microsoft's website looked like on February 23rd, 1999. And there you go. It's a way of looking, it's like getting in a time machine. And I'm here to tell you, there's some websites out there that today are amazing, but back in the day, looked like they were built by a 12-year-old. So what I would do is use this. If you want to see older versions of your competitor's website, you can learn a lot about that. And also, that's where people can see older versions of your website. If you ever want to take a trip down memory lane, you ought to do that. See what your website started out as. Kind of like looking back at old high school photos. You're going, oh, cringe. Oops, here we go. So the Wayback Machine works is it stores snapshots of sites. And I just showed you how it works. So the final thing I want to tell you about is when we're talking about your competitors, I always like to include this. Never, ever, 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 ever talk bad about your competitors to a customer or even to your own employees. Never, ever talk bad about them. It will always come back and burn you. Always, always. Here's the deal. You know, back when I was building websites, and I was the biggest web designer between Dallas and Denver. Okay. I was doing a lot of work. And I would often have customers come up to me and say, hey, Eric, I've also talked to the XYZ company. You know, what do you think of them? Are they any good? You get what they just did? They just asked me if my competitor was any good. Now, what I want to say is, no, they're awful. They do illegal stuff. I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. You know, don't you ever use them. They're evil. That's what I want to say. But do you know what I do say? Here's what I say. I say, you know what? There's a bunch of great people that work there. I know a bunch of them, and they're really good people. I really like them. But let me tell you how we are better. See what I'm saying? You always spin it back. Acknowledge their existence. Acknowledge that they're people. And that's what I did. Did you hear that? Bunch of good people. I never said they were good at what they did. I never said they were good web designers. I never said that their company was good. All I acknowledged was that they're breathing. Okay. Say, yeah, I know them. They're some good people. You know, I like them a lot. But then before you want to say more, because deep down you're going to want to say that they're evil. That never works. No, very few customers will ever choose you simply because you badmouth your competition. And trust me, if they're badmouthing you, let them. Because when you don't, the customer will see that. And a lot of them actually use that question as a test to see what kind of ethics you have. So acknowledge their existence, but turn it around quickly and discuss what you do right. Okay. What you do right, not what they do wrong. And like I said, I just showed you how I did it and how that conversation would go about. I've actually had customers come up to me and said, Eric, I talked to 4 of your competitors and all 4 were talking garbage on everyone else, but you didn't. That's why I chose you, because you're the more professional. Trust me, do I hate my competition? Yes. Do I wish they would fall off the earth? Yes. You know, do I have a list of ways that they fail? Yes. That's not how I'm going to get new business. Okay. People will figure that out on their own. The way they get new business is when I tell them how I can help them. Speaking of, are there any questions on anything I've gone over? We had a few technical issues there, and I apologize. But like I said, every web address is on there, and you can pull those up and kind of experiment on your own as well.
Catherine, I still have Catherine's hand raised. I don't know if she had a comment. I'm going to allow you to talk for a second, Catherine, if you wanted to ask a question, and just let me know if you wanted to, if you already put your question in or something. So, oh, man. Catherine, did you have a question?
Yeah, my question when I first put up my hand was that I also could not see the screens
Oh, yeah.
talking about, so that was good. And then my hand went up again, and I listened to you when you said it, and so the answer is similar, but what it said on your screen was similar.
Similar.
Similar,
Yeah.
just a
Similar.
Yeah, so that's all, because
Yeah.
people, all sorts of stuff in
Oh,
there.
yeah. Web addresses, you got to spell them right. You get them off by 1 letter and you're going somewhere else.
Yeah, is there a similar.org? No. Anyhow, probably not. But yes,
No, it'll
that's the only
correct.
reason.
Yeah, it'll correct. Thank you for that.
Thank you,
This
Kath.
was an amazing presentation. I was talking in my mind, not to a human being in my presence, but an imaginary human being, saying that it was just amazing how infrequently you repeat any information. That I listen to you twice a week, and there's just this flood of useful stuff without I mean, there's some basic themes, but this is like, ooh, yeah,
Well, thank
golden,
you.
golden.
Thank
Oh
you.
no, thank you. This is impossible to know where to go to find it stuff for people like me. So
Well, I tell people all the time, or people tell me all the time, listening to me sometimes is like drinking from a fire hose. So one of the reasons I am so thankful for my wonderful host is that they are taking every one of these classes and putting them up on their website, nmsbdc.org. And you can watch them as many times as you want. In case you miss something, because trust me, I have so much more I want to share, but I only have 4 minutes left.
You do only have 4 minutes left. It's our last call for questions. I was going to ask you, you were talking about, and let me just say today, you had a lot of links and you will be getting a copy of this presentation sent to you so you can look for yourself, because I wanted to change screens so badly and start looking up all the information you were getting. And I was like, no, I can't do it. He said, wait till after the presentation. So that's what I am going to be doing this afternoon. And also, again, you talked about your competition, putting these links up and everything. So, I mean, lots of homework this week, right, Eric?
Oh, definitely. If you can only do one thing, and I let me just say this because it can be overwhelming, everything I just gave you. If you only do one thing today, figure out Google Alerts. And I need you to check yourself out and your competition. Okay. Google Alerts. It's so simple. You don't have to create a temporary account. You don't have to, it's easy. You just have to have a Gmail account, a free Gmail account, and turn on Google Alerts. It'll be the best thing you've ever done. And it's free.
Google Alerts. Put that on your list for today. And then we have Eric coming up. We will not be seeing him the rest of this week, but we do have him coming up next week for a retailer's secret to succeeding online. So watch for that. Sign up at nmsbdc.org. And Eric, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, see you next time.